my goodness. I'm so sorry. I am 2 minutes late. I was setting this up. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome and welcome. I am your hostess, Pamela Curtis. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 4. Hey, Joanne, good to see you. Sorry I was late, 2 minutes late, but still, I like to be prompt. I've got that Midwest work ethic where we are, 5 minutes late is the equivalent to not showing up. you know, 10 minutes early is on time. So, hello, and welcome. Hey, Shell, good to see you. I'll let other people stream in here. Uh, oh my goodness, how did I overlook that? I don't know. Um, mm. So, as you can see by my lighting, I am doing much better tonight. I am not migrainey. So we are back with our regular studio setup, although I am kind of dim on this side, and that's because my candle died. So, oh, you guys get to be late. You're the audience. You get to stream in whenever. Oh my goodness. We are having technical difficulties tonight. All right, let's try this again. This is why I e-bag, okay? This is why I e-bag because my setting is so jacked up right now. I'm going to try and get this straightened out. A little bit of duct tape, a little bit of shenanigans there. No, that's not as good. One more time, this time with two hands. I'm e-bagging, and this is the quality of my stream. This is why, yeah. Anyway, this is what happens when I show up late. I'm all kerfuffled. All right, you go there. Thank you, Shell. Shell says that she is happy that I am doing better. So am I. Oh, that's the problem. Okay, that's one problem fixed. Now let's see if we can get problem number 2 fixed. No, I can't because I am a boomer. There we go. Oh, hey, Logic. Good to see you, man. Glad you're in here. You get to see me at my absolute worst. Oh, gosh. What a night. This was working earlier, and I took it down to do that silly thing that you're seeing at the bottom there. And now everything is just ruined, I tell you, ruined. But it actually kind of plays into what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, and that is bad wisdom. They say that wisdom creates good decisions, and bad decisions create bad outcomes, and bad outcomes create wisdom. This is the wisdom. There. Can this work at all? At all? Maybe. All right. So, hey, Survival, good to see you. Oh, and it's still falling apart. It's still falling apart. All right. This was fine 30 minutes ago when I had it all set up, and now it's just jacked all to kingdom come. Right. So, bad wisdom. What am I talking about when I'm talking about bad wisdom? I am talking about, well, the lyrics in the description. There's a Suzanne Vega song called Bad Wisdom. And it came out in 1992, and I always loved it. And it's got the line in there, too young, too know, too much, too soon, bad wisdom. And it's the idea of the wisdom that comes from trauma. Like A lot of people think that, doctors have all the answers. The people who are in charge know what they are doing and they have good intentions. And bad wisdom comes from those kind of things where the world falls apart and you find out that, you know, when the stuff hits the fan, all of your preconceived notions of how the world works fall apart. So Jordan Peterson put up a video today from his Australia tour. And if you look at Jordan Peterson in videos recently, like with his daughter Michaela or other things like that, you can tell that he is still kind of broken. Um, and I understand that completely. I mean, he used to be a very kind of happy-go-lucky, even if he was a serious guy, he was kind of happy-go-lucky, and there was this kind of pep to his step and everything like that. And then he goes through this whole traumatic experience of finding out that the medication that he's on causes incredible, horrible side effects when you try and come off it, and then you can have an allergic reaction when you try and go back on it again, and have to do a medical detox, and then you get pneumonia, and then and all of this on top of his wife almost dying and having a serious complication with her. I mean, everything, all of the order and the structure to his life fell apart. And I've been there. I've been there. I was working a job. It was a great job. I was at Microsoft Game Studios. I had my own car. I was making car payments. I was paying off my student loans. I'd gotten rid of my credit cards, and I thought that I had a handle on what to do with this life stuff. It's like, okay, I know, you work hard, you play hard, you rest hard, you go hard. Um, and life should work out with you for you. There may be one or two obstacles in your path, but buck up, young sailor. We can get through this sort of thing. And then the migraine hit, and all of that went out the window. Here I went from being a successful young executive to having doctors telling me that I was drug seeking when I knew I wasn't lying and I wasn't drug seeking or any of that, and to be accused of being a junkie when I used to make damn good money, had my own place, everything, and then that devolving into getting 3-day pay or vacate notices on my door, that devolving into having to have a man rescue me um, from not only my financial troubles but my health burdens. That's my ex-husband. To having still, no help on the medical side, then winding up nearly dead because the medical side couldn't get their act together, and just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, and the happy-go-lucky person that I used to be was just gone. By the end of all being in that much pain, feeling like there's no support for me in the system out there, no support, from my friends out there. They don't understand. They don't want to talk to me. They can't talk to me. Just my entire world fell apart. And through that, I gained a lot of wisdom about how fragile life is. Um, just, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. I mean, I'm seeing these comments. I commented today on a YouTube video by Elijah Schaefer of Slightly Offensive. And, he was saying about how, China wants us to be in a civil war. And I said, of course they want us to be in a civil war. I mean, that's why they've been funding the BLM riots and stuff like that. That's why they fund Antifa. Um, and somebody said, oh, well, let them try. We've got so many civilian guns and everything like that. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what that means. If we go into a civil war, not only it's not a video game. You have supply chains that break down. People won't be able to get their food, let alone medicine. Ambulatory systems, all the doctors and everything like that will be called to the front. You won't be able to go to a doctor. A broken arm becomes a serious issue. Just one thing after another, um, and how hard it can get. I mean, imagine, no running water, no heat, um, no food on the grocery store shelves, um, the worst aspects of humanity coming out because everybody's got to survive. And therefore, all the, goodwill and charity and camaraderie and stuff like that just goes out the window. I mean, imagine COVID lockdowns and riots, only 100 times worse. You can't, most people can't. They just haven't been through that kind of stuff. But I've been in that situation where, our water was, we had to carry it in buckets. And that was for everything, for brushing your teeth, for, forget going to the bathroom. You're going to the bathroom in a pit. Uh, I mean, just one thing after another. And people don't understand. But I have the wisdom because I've been through it. And so it's like, no, you want the world to be nice and kind and people to be smiling and generous and everything else. You don't want people starving. That's the worst possible thing that we could do. And it breaks people. They become, if they don't become bitter and resentful, which I certainly did. I became bitter and resentful. You lash out at the tiniest little thing. Your temper goes down to that. Um, and no, we don't want that. And people imagine that they know, um, and it blows my mind. And I can just think that most people. I mean, I'm not discounting anybody's life here. People's lives are hard. People go through some traumatic stuff. People go through some awful stuff. I'm not the only one. But most people don't have so much trauma that they can't even recognize themselves anymore. Um, most people, I would say, are the same people they were a decade ago. And, I had a dream one night, long after I was sick, where I dreamed about who I was before I got sick. I used to do a vampire LARP and stuff like that. That was my weekend fun. Dressing up goth, putting in that fake teeth, and doing the rock paper scissors, um, and I was just a happy, carefree individual. Carefree, that's the word, carefree. But when you have cares that are wearing on you all the time, it can put you in a really dark place, no matter how hard you fight against it, and it can change who you are, and make you into somebody that you don't recognize. So that was my spiel for what bad wisdom did to me, and I told my dad about the dream, and he's like, oh, why don't you just go back to being that? I'm like, I I can't. I know too much. I didn't know how bad things could get then. I know how bad things can get now. And it's not like, those bad things are far, far away from me. They're not. They're right here in the room with me. Carefree. No, I have cares now. I have cares now. And there's, you know, you can't eliminate that kind of knowledge. And that kind of knowledge, warps us. But I also wanted to speak on, the fact that even if it does warp us, we can change it into, um, something that's useful, something that has value, something that we can take pride in. There was one of the things in the chronic pain communities is they have the faces of pain, where, like kind of like the faces of meth, only it's, here's my happy face when I'm not in pain. Here's, there's no muscle tension in there, nothing going on. Happy, carefree person, eyes are open, bright and shining, that sort of thing. And then here's what I look like when I'm in pain. And even when I'm trying to smile or anything like that, it looks awful. You can tell with the tension and just everything else that's behind somebody's eyes, that they're not doing well. So yeah, the faces of pain. So, hey, praying mantis. Okay, you're listening. Awesome. I will make sure to read off things. So, but that is not as big of a topic as I thought it was going to be. I thought I had more to speak on that. Apparently, I don't. So, but as such, I would like to draw on your wisdom, the wisdom of the chat. I'm trying to do, this is my fourth one of these videos. I've got 20 more to go. And I want to know what you guys want to know about. So here's some comment from Logic. Kind of like people ask if you're okay and you say, I'm fine, when you know you're not. And when you say I'm fine and they know you're not, because they can just see it on your face, but they're too polite to pry. That that's very much what it is. So, yeah, and you can't say that you're not fine. I mean, unless it's, people that are close to you. It's not like you can just go, yeah, my day sucks. This is everything that's going wrong with me. Let me dump everything horrible in my life on you. It's just not something that goes well. I learned that the hard way. Because after a while, you just wear out your welcome. You just, you know, people don't want to hear that crap. They've got enough stuff going on in their own lives. They don't want to, and especially if they don't have a solution. Too often, you know, I try and hide my pain, and I try and hide the suffering that's going on with me, and I've gotten pretty good with it after 18 years. Not only because I don't want to burden them. Oh, Gary's in the house. Gary's in the house. Look at that. Mr. Lamb, thank you. Hit that like button, get to 100 subs. So shout out to Mr. Gary Lamb. Thank you for getting me started on this. So yeah, it's like people, like my chronic pain would, oh, he just popped on. Awesome. Well, stay as long as you can. You are very, very welcome here. So, and I can give you the link if you want to jump up even, but I understand if you're too busy. But so like people invite you to stuff and they want you to come and you say yes. But then if pain starts getting in the way, you say no too many times. Even if it's that one night that you can come, you don't get that invitation because you've just said no too many times, and people don't want the disappointment. We like to aim at a target. We like to have a destination. We like to have no obstacles in our way, and we like to, that's that dopamine circuit. We want to just we want to get to where we're going, and when we have too many obstacles in our way, or we have the expectation of obstacles in our way, or things like that, a lot of times that can discourage us from trying in the first place. So yeah, the invitations stopped coming, friends stopped calling, just all of it became very nightmarish. And so, it's it's difficult. It's difficult. And so, Cheryl says, nailed it. um, yeah, it gets very lonely very quick. And you think that people don't care because they're not calling. And it's not that they don't care. It may be that they don't know how to care. Um, it may be that they don't know how to be a friend to somebody in chronic pain. They want to be able to snap their fingers, wave a magic wand, and make it go away. And they don't know how. And it gets frustrating to be around that. And, you know, just to be witness to it. You're not the one suffering, but at the same time, you are suffering because you have to witness it. And then you feel guilty because you're not the one in pain, but yet you still feel bad. And it's, the whole thing just becomes a mess. So, oh, Deborah's in the house. Deborah's in the house. How you doing, Debs? Good to see you. If you guys are not subscribed to Deborah's Delicious Dishes, you should go. That woman knows how to cook a mean meal. Oh my gosh. So, Logic says, pumps 2020. I wish I could wear high heel shoes. I can't. There are a lot of things, a lot of items of clothing that I just can't wear anymore because they've become too painful. And I was thinking about this, talking to my mom, about how hard it is for me to cook, talking about Deborah's Delicious Dishes. I wish I could cook a lot of those things, but I can't be on my feet that long. And it's not that, the problem is that it's not just that the pain kicks in, you sit down and the pain goes away. It's that the pain kicks in, you sit down and the pain stays with you for the next 4 to 6 hours. So it just becomes not worth it to be on your feet. I'm doing a lot better now with the pain pills. I had a great morning. Oh my gosh, I woke up, you know, brushed my teeth, got dressed, and took my medicine, snuck the dogs out for a quick walk. Nobody was around, so I didn't infect anybody. Not that in the last 2 days of quarantine I'm going to infect anybody, but still, in quarantine, I'm going to respect it. And then I was able to cook eggs Benedict. And I found a way to do eggs Benedict in the microwave real quick. So you do need a toaster for the bread, but. So Deborah says, hey, beautiful, here to support. I feel you. I haven't worn high heels since my knees won't let me do it with the arthritis. Yeah, exactly. And it just becomes not worth the pain. It's like you want to do all those look like $1,000. Everybody wants, or $1 million, $1,000. That's cheap. Everybody wants to look like $1,000, but I can't wear jewelry because it bothers me too much. I can't wear nail polish. I can't even grow my fingernails long. So false fingernails are even right out because it just annoys the tips of my fingers too much. Sometimes I can't even wear socks, so you can imagine what other items of clothing are just right out the window. It becomes all those little struggles that just chip at you, and it's like, oh, why is this happening to me? So, and you don't want that self-pity to creep in. You want to stay strong. You want to, look at what you can still do, and not focus on what you've lost. But that's actually very, very difficult for our brains. There's something called the loss aversion circuit. We experience loss at 4 times the level that we experience gain. So losing a partner is 4 times as bad as gaining a new one. Losing that quarter, you have to make $1 in order for that to balance out. I mean, that's how our brains are wired. And that's, so that we have things, we're kind of hardwired for hoarding to a certain extent, so that we have things when, there aren't many things around in times of famine. We stock up food. That's hard. It's a hardwired survival thing, so that we don't starve to death if there's a famine, or, run out of water when there's a drought. So these things. Um, so Logic Rex said self-pity is probably one of the toughest emotions to avoid when down like that. Yes, absolutely. The woe is me can take over. Um, and it's not good. It can lead to all sorts of self-destructive behaviors. It leads to avoiding self-care. Um, we don't want to take care of ourselves, our responsibilities, anything around us. And it becomes a downward spiral, because, those little things that we need to take care of, they mount up quickly. And my hair is bothering my face. Ugh, should have worn it up. So, no worries. I can read typo. It's all good. Logic Rex says, apologies for saying problem and not probably. But no, yeah, I can read typo. So yeah, I mean, and there are things that we need to do, little things that we need to do every day, that can become really difficult to do, really unimportant. And, because we're feeling sorry for ourselves. Oh, I'm not going to work out. Oh, I'm going to have that extra piece of cake, because the sugar helps with the serotonin and dopamine and stuff like that. It gives us that sugar rush. It makes us feel better. And, so all these little behaviors that add up over time and can really, really sabotage us. And then, it just snowballs. So, but yeah, that's a lot of the bad wisdom that I've gone through. I'm dealing with a whole bunch of missing teeth right now. Shell says it becomes overwhelming. Absolutely, absolutely, it becomes overwhelming. And then it becomes hard to do anything, even the things that are vital. It took me, gosh, a good year before I got really good about taking my medication every day. Because here was the symbol of what was wrong with my life, that I was, a person with a chronic illness now. And I didn't want to have that chronic illness. So I, would stomp my feet like a little kid, and, I'm not going to take my medicine, even though I would get horribly, horribly sick and could have killed myself in the process, but I was resistant. Yeah, it was an obstacle to getting up, and just having my day. I just wanted to get up and have my day. I did not want to have to stop and think and remember, oh yeah, you need to take this first thing in the morning. Now it's secondhand. I do it in my sleep. So Angry Flotchy says, I still have bad days after 15 years. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because those, we can always get tripped up. We can, memories can flood back when we don't want them to. That's one of the ways that I know that I'm going to get a migraine, is if I start getting intrusive thoughts, and they're almost always negative thoughts. Oh, remember the time that, you accidentally left your cat outside and it died? Remember the time that you let your other cat outside and it got, mauled by another cat and it died? Just horrible, horrible things. And all these thoughts can come rushing back, and it can make us say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take responsibility. That's, it's already hard enough the way it is. I feel like crap, and now I don't want to. And it takes a lot to, just muster it up and say, I may not want to, but I have to because, even worse things will happen if I don't. And I just got to take care of this. I got to, put my emotions on the back burner and take care of business. So Deborah says, I can truly relate. That's how I feel with my arthritis. I'm in pain every day of my life, but I ask God to give me the strength to keep moving, to get me through the pain. Yeah. And that's, having a higher power can be such a life raft. Um, Turning it over to God and just saying, God, this is too much for me right now. I'm putting it in your hands. I'm going to truck through. I'm just going to, laser my focus in on what I need to get done. And God, you got to take care of the rest because I can't handle it. This is too big for me. Just get me through the next 5 minutes. Then I can sit down, get me through the next hour. Then I can go home. Any one of those things. Reaching up to something else. And if you don't believe in God, that's fine. Sometimes somehow, it still works to get our brain into some sort of operating mode that allows us to get through, truly, truly horrible, stressful situations. So I know that my audience is a mix of people of faith and not faith. So, try it sometimes. Even if you don't believe, try it sometimes. See what happens. See if it doesn't get you through. And my experience has been that it did get me through. I didn't know what was up there. I called it the universe because I didn't know what was up there. And I didn't know if I believed that there was something up there, but turning it over to, you know, the care of God as I understood God at that time got me through. And Deborah agrees. She says exactly. So that's awesome. I'm glad this resonates. I'm really glad this resonates because sometimes I wonder, am I just off my rocker? Have I just come up with, ideas that are just really, really weird? Um, and or it works. So how do I knock it that hard? But to find out that that's what other people do is it's really awesome. So, but I want your all's help. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 20 days of my vlogs. I mean, I'm sure I can think of something. But what is it that you guys want from me? I know that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in politics. I can talk about that. I can talk about, my pain experience, but I don't know how much people want to hear about that. I can talk about, you know, what is it that you want to know? What is it that you would like to come here and learn? Because, I mean, like last night when I had the migraine was awesome. Even though I had a migraine, everybody said that they were learning from me, and that felt great. Um, so I want to know, let's hear from the chat. What are you guys interested in knowing about? Um, and if you don't know, leave a comment later. These things take a day to upload, but you can comment on an old video if you want, because I can go into all sorts of stuff. So. Praying Mantis says, what is your favorite book? Oh my gosh, that's one of the things that pain took away from me is reading. I haven't read a book, um, and I don't often read books because it's hard to hold them in my hand. And I don't like ebooks. I like, the old timey books. I like the smell of the paper. I like everything. And part of that may be me stomping my feet. I maybe should. You okay down there, Sam? I maybe should get into like Kindle and things like that. I've got 2 audiobooks waiting for me, but I haven't listened to them. I've got a stack of books that I need to read for the pain advocacy that I want to do, but I haven't cracked a single one. I think the last book that I read that I really loved. Oh gosh, and I can't remember the title now because that's how long ago it was. Um, so, the last book I read was on the Spanish flu, and that's because the whole COVID thing was happening. So that was really good, and much more horrifying than COVID if you read about it. I mean, they had people that would walk up to them, ask directions of where to go. The guy would turn and just drop dead, right in front of them, looking healthy, perfectly healthy, and just drop dead. So that was the Spanish flu, nothing compared to COVID. It's the book about the guy he would pop in and out of time. The Time Traveler's Wife. That's it. The Time Traveler's Wife. That's the last book that I read and really, really loved. And I usually don't go for romance novels. I'm usually more like Lord of the Rings and, all the sci-fi stuff and Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, that sort of thing. But The Time Traveler's Wife, that was actually very, very good. So Survival asks, can you explain more about my post about Dan Crenshaw? Okay. Oh, let's get into this. The World Economic Forum. If you don't know what the World Economic Forum is, the Serenity Prayer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, angry fluctuating. Here's what sometimes God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yes. Love the Serenity Prayer. That's gotten me through a lot. And yeah, that alone right there. And I've also heard it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the ammunition to make the difference. So that's a nice play on that one. Yeah, Joanne. I learned it through AA and Al-Anon. So, and open every meeting like that. And I loved it. So, and I'm going to survival. Let me get back on the Dan Crenshaw thing, because that can be a whole video in itself with what globalism is, what the Davos is, and all of that. So I will save that one for later. Logic asks, the struggles that make you and brought you to where you are today, like this overcoming the struggles kind of thing. Yeah. Man, it's a lot of it was that 12-step work that I did in Al-Anon and AA. And I was in those rooms when the really terrible migraine started out. If you weren't here last time, I first became disabled at age 29, on or around January 23rd, 2003, with a migraine that lasted for 4.5 years. So, and I was sober at the time because I thought I was an alcoholic. Turns out I'm not. And it was my doctor who turned me onto that, because at one point we had fixed the migraine, but I was having all these other pains. Like it was so painful that I couldn't hold a cigarette between my fingers. So my doctor sent me home and she said, I want you to buy some alcohol and try it and see if it makes the pain go away. And I was like, oh what? And she's like, I was like, I can't do that. I'm an alcoholic. And she's like, Pam, you're not an alcoholic. I've had you on much stronger stuff and you've been fine. And so I trusted her, and she had worked with me for a long time, which is why she was even willing to suggest that I try alcohol for a medical condition. But I did it. I went home, I bought some wine coolers, and she said, call me if you get into trouble. I was like, okay, I can trust you. I know I'll call you, all that good stuff. So I bought some wine coolers, took them home, put them in the fridge, grabbed one out, It was Lynchburg lemonade. And I drank the neck of it, and my pain went away. And I was able to sit comfortably. I relaxed for the first time in months. Watched a TV show, was able to laugh, was having a good time. And then the pain started to creep back in. And so I went to take another sip of alcohol, and it had gone warm. And I was like, that's not the behavior of an alcoholic. An alcoholic would have finished that off and the other 5 in the fridge. So that's when I discovered I wasn't an alcoholic. And that's also when we discovered that it was neuropathic pain that I was dealing with. And then later it was a guy who had been a trauma surgeon in Vietnam. And he was like, oh, yeah, you got it from vancomycin, which is what they had used to deal with the MRSA. So the backstory on that is my 4.5-year migraine. The way we got rid of it is they made me a bionic woman. They put an implanted device in my body called the occipital nerve stimulator that delivered current to my nerves on the back of my head here. But unfortunately, the surgeon was very, very arrogant. He had already harmed me once. And the second time he harmed me, I woke up on the operating table. Thank God the operation was already done. But I started to climb off the operating table because my face was burning. I was like, my face is burning. Why is my face burning? And then I heard this, oh, shit. And they put me back to sleep really, really fast. So, yeah. And then after that, went home, got better. And then a few days later, I'm sitting in my car listening to some music, and I look in my rearview mirror, and my chin is wet. And I'm like, why is my chin? And then I go like this, and the whole bottom of my chin came off in my hand. And if you can see these scars here, all throughout here, there's, that one on my cheek there, the one on my nose here, that's all from MRSA. And the MRSA nearly killed me. I was in the hospital for, I don't even remember half of it, but it was at least 10 days. And at one point, they had the vancomycin had made all the blood vessels in my body inflamed, and they couldn't get any more medication into me. And this was a big deal because not only was I battling MRSA, but with the adrenal insufficiency, I had to have the prednisone in my system, or that would kill me. So they were wheeling me in to put a PICC line into my heart. And, miracle of miracles, I turned the corner right as they were wheeling me into the operating room. And they said, she's taking on medication. She's taking on medication. They wheeled me right back out. So thank God they did not have to put a hole in my heart. But they almost had to. You're okay, Sam. Don't bark. No, don't bark. I'm in the middle of a stream. Thank you. And as a result of all that inflammation, that actually killed off my small fiber nerves. And that gave me a condition known as small fiber neuropathy, which is the major day-to-day pain that I deal with now. The migraines we have largely under control with Botox, Aimovig, and gabapentin. But the really crippling, disabling pain comes from the small fiber neuropathy. So really, I just traded one pain problem for another. So, woe is me. No barking. No bark. Good boy. So, yeah. Deborah says, you poor thing. Wow. Yeah, I've had a few bumps and grinds in my life, just a few. So that's the major thing that I want to do with my advocacy is to, now that I've got pain medication and I'm able to do more, is I want to speak up on behalf of the pain community. Because right now, there was a story on Twitter yesterday where a woman broke her collarbone and they sent her home with Tylenol. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, And there's a whole epidemic of people committing suicide because their doctors are tapering them off pain medication that has worked for years. that allowed them to work, that allowed them to participate in their family, that allowed them to participate in life. Um, and so, yeah, it's horrible. They're going after pain patients and pain doctors, and it's all because, they it's good money. It's easier to go after doctors and pain patients than it is to go after drug cartels. Doctors don't shoot back, cartels do. So, survival, survival never goes out of style. Says Pam, you're a strong person to go through all of this. Thank you. Um, yeah, and survival does not ever go out of style. Uh, and that's kind of it. Is that when this first started, people used to call me courageous all the time, and I never really liked that. And my problem with it is when you only have one option, is it brave to take the only option you've got? Now I realize, how easy it would have been to give up, because I gave up a couple of times, not just, with my suicide attempts, but um, just giving up on not pursuing medical care. Um, you know, because we ran out of options. I went through every pain medication that was available on the market. There was nothing left. And, it's like the first time that I had a doctor fire me as a patient, that does happen, was he just looked at me and he said, "I'm sorry, we have no more options left for you." And I went home in such despair, bawled my eyes out. I was depressed for months, and I felt like out of hope, um, and that I couldn't persevere. Um, you know, and that's one of the sayings that I got from AA is the key to walking through hell is don't stop. But sometimes I did have to stop because I was just too tired. I couldn't make that next appointment. I couldn't do that next thing. It was such a grind, and I was so exhausted, and it was always a crapshoot. And there's this roller coaster of hope that you can go on that I even call hope a liability to a certain extent, because they say, oh, we've got this new medication and this will work and da 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 da, and you get home and you take the medication and it doesn't work, and they say, well, give it 2 weeks, and you give it 2 weeks. We'll give it a month. You give it a month. Well, I guess that one doesn't work, and it just devastates you. You think that medicine has all the answers, that, with all this technology, with everything that we've got going on, surely we have the answer to everything, right? No. And there's so many things that, it we don't have all the answers, and people do hit medical limits of what we can do. And, um, you know, you're just left at home to suffer. And there's a lot of people out there. They say 1 in 5 suffers with chronic pain. That's 20% of the people out there are dealing with some form of chronic pain. Um, and I think it's of that 5, at least 2 of them are dealing with debilitating chronic pain, like myself. Even with the pain pills, even though I'm doing much better, if I try and do too much activity, I can push myself past what the medication can handle, and end up in a big spiral of pain that is very, very difficult to get out of. It feeds itself, and it just keeps going. Um, and so I don't want to get that. Back in 2012, I ended up with that. I worked too hard, and I ground myself down. Um, and yeah, so Logic Rex said 1 in 5. I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah, a lot of people don't. And this is the scary thing. All right, so let's take it up to 1,000. So if you've got 1,000 people, 200 of them have chronic pain. Now, I want everybody in the chat to say, okay, out of 1,000 people, how many people, whether or not they have a pain problem, how many people do you think have an addiction problem? That if they were given opiates, they would become addicts? I want to see numbers. I'm going to smoke in the meantime, so. Logic Rex said, small world, same here. I was in AA for a few years, but it turns out I was just immature and didn't know how to deal with emotions. Yep, that's what it ended up with me. Is I come from a family of alcoholics. None of us knew how to deal with emotions, so I really, really value my time in the 12 steps. Taught me a lot. Taught me, the foundation that I continue to live with today. Great book. Great book. The big book is fantastic. So, but all right, we've got one number here. First number is number of addicts. 423 out of 1,000 would be a dip. That's praying mantis's guess. So if you've got 200 out of 1,000 would have a chronic pain problem, how many do you think would be addicted to opiates if you gave it to them? So praying mantis's answer is 423. Let's get some more answers in here. Survival says half of them, so that would be 500. Logic said I used to run the bottle when things got hard and needed to learn other ways to deal. Yeah, with me, it wasn't even so much that. It was that I was, no, it was exactly that. It was exactly that. I take it back. It was exactly that. I didn't know how to deal. So Joanne says I was on Oxy for 10 years and the pain docs got so strict. I quit 2 years ago. Now I just live in pain. Yep. I went through that for a long time. The reason why I went back to the pain doctor is that I was using medical marijuana to manage my pain, and I became allergic to it. I started breaking out in hives. So that didn't work anymore. And I couldn't take enough of an edge off. So Logic is saying 300 out of 1,000. Angry is saying 5 out of 5. So Angry thinks Angry Flocky, one of those two, is saying that anybody who's given an opioid can become an addict. All right, is everybody ready for the answer? Ready for the answer? Out of 1,000 people, if you gave all 1,000 of them an opiate, 4. That's the rate of opiate addiction. So you've got 200 people out of 1,000 that are in chronic pain, and you've got 4 that would become addicts if you gave them pain pills. And we are pumping trillions of dollars into a drug war that has never worked to deal with 4 people out of 1,000, when 200 people could return to their lives if they were able to have opioid pain care. That is absolutely criminal in my mind. We've got programs for those 4 people. Why can't we just do that? But no, we've got to make 200 people suffer to deal with 4. Absolutely unconscionable. I think this is why I want the drug war to end, is because pain patients and pain doctors are being persecuted for 0.4% of the population. And I was talking to a pain doctor, and Jamie Lee Curtis has addiction that runs in her family, so she'd never been on opioids. And she said that the difference is, that most people with opioids, when they take them, yeah, they get euphoric. It makes the world feel plushy. You feel good, everything like that. She said that she felt like she was on the moon. So they really have a much different reaction, and it's a biological act. We know that this addiction rate has not changed in over 100 years. It is something biological. It is not in the pills. You cannot just take pain pills and become addicted to them. It doesn't work like that. You can become dependent on them, but that's a different mechanism than addiction. Addiction is when you take them and you feel like you are on the moon. And so, yeah, we've got to figure out this whole thing about the drug war, and especially the opioid crisis and the opioid hysteria, because no, it is not hundreds of people that would be addicted if you gave them opiates. It is 4 in 1,000, 0.4%. Unreal. 0.4% or 20%. Which would you rather help? So, yeah. The red strains are good for pain. Are we talking about kratom? There it is. Yeah, kratom. I can't take kratom. It makes me sick as a dog. I just throw up. But that will show up in a drug test these days, just so you know. You can fail a drug test by having kratom. So if you're on kratom, tell them you're on kratom. If you have to go in for anything, because and they're doing a urinalysis because they catch it these days. But yeah, that's another alternative medicine for pain besides doing opiates, is the medical marijuana, and then also kratom. And it's just so much easier to take care of yourself at home without this whole intrusive mechanism coming in. Oh, Logic. Yes, I did hear about that. It passed the House. I hope it makes it through the Senate. I really, really hope. That's something I think that should have been done a long time ago. Thank God it's being done now. Because that will allow a whole bunch of people to work who are on medical marijuana. You can volunteer. Like, that was one of the things that I ran into, is I wanted to try volunteering for maybe an hour or two a week. Couldn't, because I was using medical marijuana. There's so many doors that will open up if we just take that off the schedule of where it is, because there are medical uses for it. We have an entire endocrine system, a third branch of the endocrine system that they just discovered because because Colorado allowed for the use of marijuana again. It's called the endocannabinoid system. So, yeah. Shell says kratom and weed saved me for sure. I can believe it. I can definitely believe it. Joanne says, I can't chance it. I'll go to jail for a year if I fail. Yep, and the consequences are just too steep. It's absolutely crazy that, and that's prison. Anything a year or over, that's prison. That's not jail. So, but yeah, I know CBDs are legal nationwide, so you can take those as long as they're made from hemp, and you can even buy them online. So look into that. Survival says, Pam, you made it through an hour real easy this time. It didn't feel like it. I was struggling there in the middle. That's why I kind of went off the bad wisdom topic and onto this. So, but yeah, if you guys have any more topic ideas, we have hit the hour mark. Yay! So I can go rest now. But yeah, if you have any topic ideas, I'll get back to the globalists and Dan Crenshaw and the World Economic Forum and how scary that is, the Great Reset. Oh, and Biden's going to be a part of the Great Reset if he gets in. So, and Tim did there's a short clip of Tim and Destiny. I hate Destiny, sorry. Destiny talking about the Great Reset and how Destiny thinks it would be so wonderful if we had this Great Reset. It's basically shoehorning communism in. But yeah, leave any sort of comments on the previous videos, because this is going to take a day to upload. Any topic ideas that you have, any questions you want answered, anything like that. Because basically, I've been stuck at home for the last 18 years with nothing to do but research this stuff. So, praying mantis, thank you. Logic says, I'm hoping as well. In New York, Cuomo is talking about legalizing recreational marijuana in 2021 too. Yes. So much a good thing. The only thing that yeah, Biden will not be president for long. It's not the plan. Yeah, well, he's already talked about, if they come up with any sort of problem, he'll just say he has an illness. The guy has no filter anymore, so, but yeah. Thank you, Shell. Shell says, great show. Oh, yeah. Everybody should follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is E_Veritas_unum. So follow me on there. You don't have to agree with my politics, but that's where I am on Twitter. And leave a comment and let me know what you'd like for the next couple of shows, and we'll spend an hour on those. I'm allowing myself to run over tonight because there were technical difficulties in the beginning. If you weren't here in the beginning, it was pretty embarrassing. So, but that's what I get for having to use a tablet duct taped to my window frame in order to do this, and on a Walmart art stand. Yeah, it's my life is sad. My life is sad. So, oh yeah, that's why Pelosi came out with the 25th. All right, so yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about what we might see with a Biden presidency next time. We'll talk about the World Economic Forum and the globalist agenda for the Great Reset. And Boris is on board with this. I feel so sorry for the UK. They got him. Oh, so much for UK independence. But Praying Mantis says, you're a beast. Roar. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow night. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Smash the like on your way out if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Help me get to 100 subscribers. I want to claw my way up there so I don't have to e-beg and I can just do the super chats and stuff like that. You all have a great night. It was great spending this time with you. All right. Mwah.